Welcome to episode 103 of Cougs on Cougs. We're back after a week off. We're here a few days late.
A long time.
This is Jess.
Sorry.
I'm Mary. It has been a minute, but we're here now, and we've got some basketball to talk about. But as always, let's start with our notable quotable.
This comes from our very own Yoli Childs, who we adore. This was after the St. Mary's game. He said this in the post game. He said, "It's pretty cool when you're running down the side and you see your guys on bench freaking out the whole game, giving you energy. All the credit goes to the entire team. Guys who played 40 minutes, guys who played 0 minutes, our coaches, everybody." And it really took everyone to beat that St. Mary's team.
Yeah, and on the flip side, I think that there was effort from almost nobody by the end of the Gonzaga game. So I think
was quite the opposite.
Yeah,
I
you
guess.
know that Harvey Dent in Batman with like
Two-Face?
the two sides. Yeah, it was like that.
Jekyll and Hyde.
For
Any
real.
of those, yeah. It was-
Anyway,
yeah.
so we like the side where everybody's contributing. It was beautiful against St. Mary's, but let's get right into that. Let's
Yes.
move into coaching from the couch, where we will discuss the. We're not going to go over the San Diego game. We're going to go over the St. Mary's game and the Gonzaga game for our coaching from the couch. Let's start with what went wrong.
Gonzaga game went wrong. It went very, very wrong.
Yeah, I suppose
poorly.
we should mention we beat St. Mary's 85-72. Healthy win.
It was amazing. We were all so happy.
And then we lost by more than that, 74-54 to Gonzaga. And you know what I've
That
been
wasn't
telling
as
people is losing by 20 like makes it seem better than it was, which
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. I know. At one point I was like, yay, we got it to 20s. I was hoping we got it
and
to
whenever
teens.
you're saying that, you know it's bad.
Oh, man.
So what went wrong for you, Coach Tyler?
Just about everything. I mean, not the first 10. The first 10 minutes was pretty good of the Gonzaga.
Sure, it was fine. It was great.
Yeah, it was fun. We were hanging in there. It was
But
good.
I think that ended up just making it worse because you thought it was going to be a game, and then
Yeah,
it was
but-
like, ha, ha, ha.
That's the thing about playing Gonzaga. Like, once you get down by, like, 3 or 4, you're like, you got to turn this around real quick or it's going to just completely go off the rails. And that's exactly what happened those last 3 minutes before halftime. Everything just completely fell apart.
Mm-hmm.
The one key stat that I picked out while I was watching the game was that just watching the game, I was like, we are getting killed on the boards, destroyed. And so I had to look that up at halftime. So at halftime, Gonzaga was plus 10 on the boards, and we had 0 offensive rebounds, which means 0 second chance points, which means...
Yeah, I know it was 8-0, I think, at halftime for second chance points.
Right. So those, I mean... And we weren't shooting that great, really. I mean, we missed a lot of stuff at the rim, but every time you missed those, they were getting the rebounds. So it was just a lot of empty possessions, and eventually that caught up to us once Gonzaga started hitting their shots.
For sure, and we really only have ourselves to blame because of turnovers, and that isn't my what went wrong, but that is one of many things that did go wrong.
Yes, it is. What went wrong for you? What'd you pick out?
For me, I would like to know not just for the Gonzaga game, but for all the games since February 1st, so month and change ago, BYU has made 37 of 139 three-point attempts, which is 26.6%, and it's unacceptable.
Which is bad.
It's bad.
That's bad.
So what happened? What changed? So Yoli was 3 for 3 on Monday against St. Mary's, which was incredible and so fun. The rest of the team besides for Yoli on Monday was 2 for 8. So we had an impressive win against St. Mary's. It was not because of 3-pointers. It was because of points in the paint, which I would not have guessed would have been the storyline. And we were 6 for 19 against Gonzaga. 31%, which is not great. 6 3-pointers is not enough to beat Gonzaga. That's for dang sure.
No, especially now with how well they shoot the ball. Did you see that follow-up stat, though, from the one you just said, that by way of contrast, BYU made 43.2% of their threes in January?
43.2?
That's a huge
Great.
drop in a month. Mm-hmm. I mean, you should be getting better at that at the end of the season.
Let's move on to happier times. So the St. Mary's game was amazing, especially as Coach Tyler just mentioned.
fun.
Jock Landell fouling out was almost, I was going to say almost enough to make the Gonzaga game less painful, but could anything make that less painful?
No.
It was still good, though.
But, man, that 24 hours after that St. Mary's game, maybe not even 24 hours, but, yeah, it was it was good times to be a Cougar fan. We were all feeling pretty good about ourselves.
The highest of highs and the lowest of lows. So, all right, yeah, what went right for you?
So for me, it was just in that St. Mary's game, everything just looked like it was finally clicking. You had guys contributing all over the court. And the ball movement all of a sudden looked amazing.
Amazing.
The offense looked great, and it was because it was a lot of, just making the extra pass, not a lot of one-on-one dribbling, that kind of thing, dribble handoffs and try to make something happen. But it really worked, and that meant that you had guys like Dalton Nixon come in and have a killer game. He had 4 assists, which I think was a career high, 11 points for him, which was really helpful to have off the bench. TJ Haws ended up with 7 assists and 0 turnovers, which is huge.
Oh, I will take that ratio, please, every time.
And then we ended up with 20 assists for the game, which that's what you need to be a team like St. Mary's.
How many did we have in the Gonzaga game?
We had 7. Oh my gosh.
7 assists on how many made baskets?
Not very many.
Because it wasn't team ball though. It was individual ball, and I mean I don't know if that's wow. Are we talking about what went right? Sorry. For me, Yoli Child. Oh my goodness. So we obviously already were singing his praises with those 3 pointers. As I wrote here in my notes, he is the person that I blamed least for the Gonzaga loss.
He still had 20 points in fairly limited minutes after all the wheels fell off, but
they sure did. But no, he was great. I mean, he was on his way to tournament MVP through the first 10 minutes of the Gonzaga game.
That's true.
And I wanted to share this tweet from Greg Wrubell, who said that Yoli's 33 points in the St. Mary's game are the most points scored by a BYU player in the tournament since Jimmer Fredette himself, when he scored, if you'll remember, 52 points.
I remember because I was there.
Versus New Mexico. Me too.
That was amazing.
So, that, I did not think Yoli Childs would be the next person to do. I mean, Yoli Childs always scores well, but 33 is next level. He was in another zone on Monday night. I think just what hurts the most and why BYU fans are overreacting so much is that the auto bid was right there. It's like that Rascal Flatts song, what hurts the most is being so close, right?
So true.
So we couldn't have been any closer to the tournament when fans had all but given up on that hope and I think thought we were going to lose in the first round, and then we get there and it could not have been more disappointing.
Rock the Town, for the first time in a long time, is going to start with BYU football
because
spring ball is back. Coach Stewart tweeted this out. First day of spring ball, setting our foundation for a great spring and fall by perfecting the little things that are actually the big things. Great day to be a Cougar.
I like what I'm hearing.
True? Yeah, the little things are big things, as we learned very well last year.
We wanted to mention a couple of things just that we've seen on Twitter. So it looks like Butch has been practicing with the defensive backs. I think what I've heard is that he's going to stay at linebacker, but he's not going to be so much middle linebacker anymore.
He's not going to be trying to put on a bunch of weight. He'll be playing more at his natural size, which is good. I'll be back to the Butch we know.
Matt Hadley is back on the roster. You can find on Twitter the pictures of the roster. See for yourself who else is there, who else isn't. I'm pretty sure Louis is back on the roster.
Interesting.
But yeah, so anyway, we don't know for sure if Matt's NCAA waiver has been accepted. Like, you could totally probably participate in spring ball without knowing either way. I don't think that's an eligibility issue. But hopefully this is a good sign because it would be great to have Matt back.
The spring football schedule's out, so BYU football tweeted this out so you can see what days are practice days, when pro day is, and then the spring game is going to be April 7th, and that'll be at 11 a.m.
The only one that's open to the public, although they are televising pro day. So how fun is that?
That will be very fun.
And that's on exciting. March 30th, so right at the end of this month. So there's definitely some Cougar football stuff to look forward to. Shaylee Fawcett, who's at Shaylee Fawcett, said, when ESPN funny. 960 Sports finds out that you're the one who puts oil on the BYU football players' arms for the photo shoots, because Ben Criddle, I saw this cryptic tweet from him just tagging her and saying, is it true? And I'm like, what is he talking about? He's talking about someone told him that Shaylee rubs oil on the players' arms in these photos.
I did see the one of Bo Hodge, and I was like, that's a lot of oil.
Yeah, he was... Shaylee, maybe back off a little on that one. But his whether it was too much or too little, I volunteer as tribute.
That's hilarious. So this is from Squally Canada, which, as you remember, plays running back for BYU and should be back this season and hopefully a huge contributor. He said, I know without any intentions I represent BYU because I'm a student athlete here. One reason why I don't cuss in my songs, but I also speak a lot of truth in my music, from trying to get some money in my pockets to the death of my cousin. It was interesting that he shared this on social media and talked about it.
Yeah. Hashtag respect. I just like that he said that, and I like that he knows, as someone who is not part of Mormon culture or BYU culture, for him to still, have this understanding that he represents BYU, and that because of that he's not cussing in his songs, which cussing in rap songs is a very normal thing to do. So we just wanted to give a shout out to Squally. Go check out his music. Fred Warner, that is someone we are excited about. Still love Fred so much. He put up some really good numbers at the NFL Combine, which was a couple of weeks ago now. He ran a 4.64 40, which is solid, acceptable. 21 reps at 225, 38.5-inch vertical, 119 broad jump, 6.9 in the 3-cone drill, and a 4.28 shuttle. So this is from Hans Olsen. He just talked about how maybe Fred might see some action at a hybrid safety role, which would be great for him, or he could put on some more weight and play outside linebacker, his position he played at BYU in the NFL. I'm sure he could make an impact on special teams, which is where a lot of these guys start. It's where Jamal Williams started. But like Hans said, great athlete that should go before the end of the 5th round. So we are looking forward to seeing where Fred ends up.
Harvey Longy will be good to go for 2018 after the injuries that he suffered in that car accident. If you remember that, it was pretty scary. But he's good to go. So
great news.
It'll be exciting to see him play again.
Yeah.
That was a rough setback for him.
I was really, really happy to see that he got cleared.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of the Patriots and Kyle Van Noy, who, as you might remember on his player introductions, says his college as Brigham. Royal Army, who we love.
Shout out to Royal Army.
Yes, picked up and ran with that, and they have t-shirts and hoodies. I know I especially like that navy one with the metallic silver. They have a few options, so go royalarmybrand.com and check this out. Rep Kyle Van Noy and the Y. It's cool.
Ty Demmer tweeted this out. This was back in February. It's been a while since we've done this.
Yes.
Thanks to Davey O'Brien for a fun weekend. Congrats to Baker Mayfield. So
Heisman stuff.
Yeah, so pictures of Ty Demmer, Jim McMahon's in there.
With Heisman winner Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. Nice to see them all together.
It's always fun to see Ty. Yeah, and it's fun to see him at the Heisman stuff. Back to a couple things from basketball. Only good stuff, don't worry. We did want to give a shout out to these BYU students who, again, back in February, at the end of February, for our last home game against Gonzaga, it was very, very snowy, and the tents were still set up, which I know the players appreciated. And yeah, man, it was crazy. So anyway, you have to give a shout out to The Rock. They showed up.
Good work. Proud of you. And then this was funny. So Jay Cressa tweeted out this picture of him with Kevin Giles. Is that his name?
I guess so.
He was a radio DJ up in Salt Lake.
For 92.9. Listen to it all the time. Great rap station.
Right, and he's got a little bit of resemblance to Jake's cousin, who is TJ Haws.
Yes.
So, but he has a beard.
For some reason, Jake deleted this picture because Jake took his young men's group up to Broadway Media and met this guy, which was awesome, but what he said is still funny.
Yep, so then Kevin quote tweeted Jake and said, let's get BYU Basketball to petition a beard card for TJ Haws.
Yeah.
So that then they'd really be twins.
This has just been a really funny exchange, and a lot of the radio DJs at 92.9 have been tweeting at TJ Haws. They want to get him up there and interview him and have Kevin and TJ meet each other. And I would like to see that side-by-side comparison. I just think it's nice for TJ to have a doppelganger who is not Gollum from Lord of the Rings.
I think it's funny that we can see what TJ would look like with a beard. It's not, you should consider that, TJ.
Yeah, you should. Our last thing in Talk of the Town, we wanted to give a shout out to our guy, Brandon Davies.
Poor Brandon.
Poor Brandon plays with none other than Kevin Pangos. Every time we played Gonzaga, all 3 times, Brandon's just been hoping we can get that win and he can finally give back some of the grief he's getting. And not only that, he woke up at 3 in the morning Oh, okay. The only thing worse than that Gonzaga game would be getting up at 3 in the morning to watch
and having to go to practice after. I wonder if he watched the whole game.
I
Brandon,
hope not.
we would not blame you if you didn't.
I hope not.
But I love that he said that he and Charles Abdul were setting their alarm clocks. I love that so much.
Gotta love the love from former Cougar Nation. I wish
#beat
would have been a better result. Maybe next year you'll get some bragging rights, Brandon Davies.
Maybe. Before we move on, we wanted to mention Jay Bartley Whiting sent us this book that he wrote about Brother Jay. This is a story about Floyd Johnson, who was a equipment manager for BYU Sports
for a long time.
So Jay Bartley put together this book that's all about little anecdotes about Brother Johnson, about his time at BYU.
From people.
A lot of famous BYU athletes contributed to this book. A lot of good stories. So
it must have been some hard work to put it together.
Brother Jay.
It's nice to learn about those behind the scenes guys.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely learned some things I did not know about the history of BYU sports. So it was really interesting. So
pick it up, Brother Jay.
Yeah, pick it up.
Okay, our last segment of the day is Cougs and culture. We have come up, we kind of mentioned that we might, but we came up with a new hashtag for our mashups that we like to do with like musicals and BYU, because that's just what we like to do.
Of course.
So it's hashtag the greatest Cougs, like the greatest showman, except the greatest Cougs. And I kind of got the thread going yesterday, and we had some really good responses. So let's share. And keep in mind, this was when times were still good. So a lot of the photos you're going to see are from that St. Mary's win. Great.
Yep, so we'll start with Ashley Anderson. Sent us, watching it come true, it's taking over you. Oh, this is the greatest show, with this great picture of Peyton Dastrup. He looks pretty excited about the greatest show.
He does. He
totally
does.
And I mean, that was a great show on Monday.
Yes, and we love this one from at yfangirl_JB. She changed the never enough lyrics to say, I'm trying to hold my breath, let it stay this way, can't let this moment end. You set off a dream in me, getting louder now, can you hear it echoing? Normal lyrics, take my hand, will you share this with me? All still normal lyrics. All the NIT appearances will never be enough. Which was funnier when we weren't probably going to go to the NIT.
When we had a chance to do something
It's still funny, though. So, love that song, like the lyric mashup.
I mean, it will never be enough. We'll always want the NCAA tournament.
Amen.
So, Mary, this is a good one. It says, it's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need, and it's here right in front of you. This is where you want to be. And my favorite response was Steve. Extremely callous, subtle, belting voice. I'm not going to sing it.
I know. It's hard when we don't sing it.
You all know.
You know what
she says.
This is where you want to be, where she yells it. Yeah, it's great. Okay, and then this one is from Jess. So she made a few really good ones. What my favorite one she made was this picture of Yoli sticking his tongue out. It just went with the lyrics so well. You can be sensible. You can play it sensible, king of conventional, or you can risk it all and see. And we did. We risked it all. It did not reward us, but we did not play it sensible. There you go.
Hey.
Yep. Okay.
We risked it. It was good. And then Tasha Sabi. This one was good. Every night I lie in bed, Elijah Chiant fills my head. These tourney dreams are keeping me awake.
Ugh.
Which, if you watch the St. Mary's game and you're on that high, it was hard to go to sleep.
Yeah, it really
Thinking
was.
about the possibility of being in the big dance. Alas, we shall have to wait for another year.
Yes, and we haven't found a picture yet, but insert one of someone being dejected and the lyric from Now On, where he says, a man learns who is there for him when the glitter fades and the walls won't hold. So,
we're still here.
Our true fan colors are really coming out, so if you can't say anything else, you'll say
If we have any NIT home games, I will be front and center.
Absolutely.
Those are actually
and I know
really
a lot
fun.
of you will, so we are those people that are there when the glitter fades. Anyway, if you have any of those mashups, share them. Use the hashtag the greatest Cougs.
If you have any suggestions on other ones, we are all for it. Obviously, if you want to keep contributing to the Cougs and Ham,
it's not that one. Yeah,
too.
please.
Always relevant. So
there you go. That's just our fun little Cougs and cultures. As for what is next, likely for the Cougars, it's going to be the NIT tournament. Unfortunately, in a lot of the projections, we've been projected as a 5 or 7, so not even a higher seed.
I mean, to be fair, at least
NIT.
that St. Mary's win put us pretty solidly in the NIT. There was maybe some discussion we would miss that.
People saying we're on the NIT bubble.
It's BYU.
We're not
going to make
NIT
the money,
bubble.
so whatever.
So the selections are from March 9th to 11th. So it's kind of weird because they have to wait for all the conference tournaments to be over and put all that in place. So the selection show, we'll tweet out when it will be. I don't know the exact date yet.
After the NCAA tournament selection show.
Right, which is on the 11th.
Yeah, usually it's just an hour or so after that.
The first round of those games will be March 13th and 14th. So that is next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. And just FYI, since the NIT is going to get started and there's not much going on, we are going to take a week off and then we'll be back to talk about those postseason games.
Also wanted to remind you to keep voting for Coach Rose. The Infinity Coaches Charity Challenge, whatever it's called, is still going on. So hashtag timeout to vote, hashtag Coach Dave Rose. Trying to win $100,000 for the Simmons Research Center on campus. So keep voting, please, please, please.
Yes, regardless of any outcome of any game,
regardless of your disappointment.
Yes, this is something that is far more important than a game. So
right.
Keep voting. As for our sponsors this week, our first one is actually Elijah Chiant. We do recommend going through that photo gallery from the St. Mary's game. It will brighten your day, and this photo of Eli and Yoli hugging just warms our hearts.
And also brought to you by, this is funny every time, Flavor Flav representing. He was at the St. Mary's and the Gonzaga game. Apparently he's buddies with the St. Mary's alumni.
But hey, I think he likes us.
I hope he likes us.
I hope he still likes us after that Gonzaga game. Yikes.
So here's a picture of him holding a rock shirt, which is...
What time is it?
Impressive.
He knows what time it is. Rock time. May you always stay loyal to the white and blue. For Jess, I'm Mary. We'll see you in a couple weeks.